Good day, Chief here for Chief Coffee Chats. Got a fresh cup of coffee. I hope you're ready to go. Sit back and relax. And Chief gets to complain. I've already been on this subject twice. Now, the channel that I was mostly complaining about, I was watching them specifically for their Pacific coverage of World War II. Now, as I mentioned several months ago, they said that they weren't getting enough sponsors to satisfy their needs, so therefore they had to cut back on their production. But if you contribute, you got videos on their Patreon, I think it is. So you're not cutting back on your production because you're making videos specifically for people that pay Patreon. So how are you cutting back? So then I noticed right after that, each and every video that I watched of their specific theater almost had a different sponsor every week. Now, I know sponsors can tell you what to say, but however, when you're documenting historical facts, it's not like you're going to say, well, the Marines landed and got massacred on this island and the Japanese were victorious, because you're going to lose all your credibility and all your customers, so to speak. So it's not like a sponsor can tell you, well, don't make the Japanese soldiers look too bad, when just about everyone on every island, they almost got killed to the single man. So about a month after complaining that we weren't getting sponsors and they wanted to get away from them, all of a sudden they came up with this big plan. We want 1,000, I think it was 1,000 people to pledge $5 or $10 a month. Okay. But they really didn't come out and say, they did come out and say that way they could do away with sponsors. So $5,000 a month from people is not a lot of money if you've got 5, 10, 15 people or more in your production staff. So guess what? A few weeks ago, I really didn't notice, they put their main topic behind the paywall. In other words, strong-arming you to contribute, so you have to pay to see their videos. Kind of like cable TV. Okay, let's look at this as an idiot would, me. I already have to buy a computer in order to watch your production. Computers aren't just given away. So you got to buy a computer and a monitor, power cord, speakers, or headphones, minimum, just to watch. So you're already paying that to watch your video on YouTube, which is supposed to be a free network, so to speak. Now, I also got to pay a monthly bill to have internet service in order to watch your video. Now, thanks to our president's wonderful economic program, people are having a hard time putting food on their table, but no, you want the people to pay during a time of crisis. So that's got me a little bit upset. And then I noticed another channel that I watch. They put out maybe 1 or 2 videos in a month. And I think they came out and said that they have 15 people on their staff. So now they are doing the same thing as this other channel by saying we're putting more content behind the Patreon paywall. Well, look, people, I ain't got $5 to do here, $5 to do there, $5 to watch this guy, $5 to watch this guy, $5 to watch this guy. That's a lot of money. And then, of course, some of them could sit there and say, but they haven't come out and said it, well, No one's compared it to a pack of cigarettes yet. I don't even know what a pack of cigarettes cost. Back in my day, they were 65 cents. I think the highest I've ever paid. Yeah, a long time ago. And then some people say, well, for a price of a cup of coffee. Yeah, a very expensive cup of coffee. You can support our channel. And a lot of these channels are getting demonetized in their videos because YouTube is getting dumber and dumber and dumber. Oh, we don't want violence, even though your channel says 18 above to watch, not safe for kids. But no, we're going to demonetize you because you talk about violence, you show weapons, but yet these low staff companies are the ones that are penalized. Meanwhile, the big media companies, the ones that have televisions or television studios, so to speak, on regular cable, they don't get penalized because they don't care. We're already getting money from ads, money from sponsors and everything else, so they don't care if they get demonetized, and they're probably not getting demonetized because I'm not going to go into that. I'll get in trouble. So, yeah. So one gripe leads to another gripe to where now I'm not watching their channel because you took away the thing I was watching you for, stuck it behind a paywall that, it's only a price of a cup of coffee a month. Well, here's my coffee, homemade. So this is not a $5 cup of coffee. Since I pay, what is it, about $15 a bag, I think. And 5 bags last me a month. So it's not a $5 cup of coffee I'm drinking. So, yeah. And people are struggling. So since I'm former military, I shop at the commissary. Now some people say, well, you're an idiot for shopping at the commissary. Well, I'm not going to go to Costco and buy in bulk to save money. Give me 47, not an odd number. Give me 48 cans of this. Oh, it expires in maybe 3 months. I'm not going to sit there and eat spinach for next 3 weeks just to get rid of the goodbye date. I know food lasts longer than the goodbye date. Trust me, I know. We got MREs that were expired when I went to the Gulf War. So, yeah, and then some people sit there and tell me, well, the prices aren't comparable. Yeah, they are. While I was in Fort Lewis, yes, the commissary sometimes, back, especially in the past, did not have a wide variety of brands of food. Because you'd get these coupons, and it'd be for a certain company, and then you'd go to the commissary, and lo and behold, that particular product wouldn't be on the shelf, but everything else from that company would be. It was really strange. So I would sometimes take all those extra coupons, and then I would stop off. I think it was a Safeway up there. And so I stopped off one day after work, still in my BDUs, I think, back then. I was still in BDUs back then. And I just used the coupons. I bought the items with the coupons. So as I was checking out, this lady sat there and looked at me. She goes, oh, you're in the military. You should shop here because with your coupons, our prices beat the commissaries. I said, no, they don't. She goes, oh, yes, they do. I said, okay, you've got a jar of macadamia nuts from Hawaii. I went by and looked at it. I think back then they were selling it for like $12. And I sat there and I told her, I said, your $12 macadamia nut container, I buy the same one at the commissary for $8. So therefore, if I had a $2 coupon, yeah, you'd be the same price. But this company doesn't do coupons. So she just looked at me. I said, you want to go over another item? So, I mean, a lot of young kids, or young service members, they would be like, we don't like shopping at the commissary. We like shopping off base. I said, you're wasting your money, but I've been in and out of the commissary my whole life, thanks to my dad being in the military. And the brief time that I was actually a civilian before I joined the military, I noticed a difference buying groceries. My mom would just sometimes, hey, here's a little bit of extra that we got to help out. And speaking of groceries, let's go into that. We got, I've been watching a lot of videos bashing the economic program that this character has created. And ever since COVID, and ever since the election, I got prepared for. I paid off all my credit cards before he became president. My car was paid off the month after he was, and I hadn't made any major purchases. And I've been paying off everything else. I paid off my solar. Now I'm concentrating on paying off my mortgage bill, in case we do have a crisis. And I've already told my kids, if we do have a crisis, come to my house. At least we know we can afford it. And we can still get groceries at the commissary. And speaking of that, of groceries, thanks. I'm buying less groceries and paying twice as much more. I mean, pre-COVID, my average grocery bill for me was about $100 a month. Sometimes it would be a little bit over, sometimes it'd be way under, like $80, depending if I bought things like cat litter or dog food or cat food, which is skyrocketed too. So those are the things that would make my grocery bill go up. But food for myself was generally about $80 to $100 a week. Since COVID, I'm not buying as many items. Like today, I did buy kitty litter, which is still reasonable. It's like $14. But I spent $205. Before, that probably would have cost me about $100 with some other extra items. And before, I could buy a lot of items, and I've got the old cloth bags. I don't like those plastic ones. My cloth bags are 30 years. Some of them are 30 years and older. Had them all my career. And so they got handles on them. Pre-COVID, it would take me 2 trips. Some weeks, depending if I got some bulky stuff or not, I can carry almost $200 worth of groceries in my cloth bags in one trip. Wow. And now the commissary prepares bags that they give to a food center. So they got, some weeks it's $20 worth of items, and then today it was $15. So there was so $30 was kitty litter and buying a sack of food for a needy family, a needy military family. It's so sad that there's needy military families. The government found that out back in the Gulf War, because enlisted members, you got a thing called separate rations, separate rats. And you had to, so when you went to the field, they would subtract your meals, the cost of your meals while you're on exercise away from your separate rats. So therefore you weren't getting all your separate rations maximum. You had to pay for your MREs. They would deduct it. And so when we went to the Gulf War, they said, okay, soldiers, you're being deployed. Your separate rations has now been cut off. And a lot of families, they use that separate rations, even though I think I was only making like $115, I think. I don't remember what I was making. The families were relying on that for at least 1 week's of grocery bills. And then they found out, oh, we can't do this to our family members, so you guys will get paid your separate rats besides your separation pay. Separation pay should have made up for the separate rats, if I'm not mistaken. But they found out that families are dependent on separate rats for maybe 1 week's of groceries back then. $100, depending on how many mouths you got to feed. So, have I complained enough this week? Hey, what can I say? Freedom's not free. Groceries aren't free. Feeding your family's not free. I've only been in that situation one time. So hopefully days in the future will be better. Hate to leave on a bummer, but that's how it goes sometimes. So remember, freedom's not free. Chief out.